Welcome to a combat mission after action report for the third battle in the combat mission Fortress Italy Monte Cassino campaign. It's the 17th of May 1944 and I'm in command of various forces of the Polish II Corp. During the early morning's darkness, we successfully secured Phantom Ridge in the first battle. However, in the second battle, to clear the gorge floor, I was unsuccessful and decided to withdraw after suffering heavy casualties. This has put me in a challenging position for the campaign. In the first battle, I took 1,000 victory points. In the second, the Axis took 1,700 victory points. So now I have a 700 deficit. It's now 1400 hours, and for the third battle of the day, I've been ordered to push west, over Phantom Ridge and onto the heights of Colle Sant Angelo. The terrain is mountainous, the same as the previous battles, and we continue to face Obus Ludwig Hielmann's 4th Fallschirmjäger. After the last battle's failure, I'm adjusting my battle tactics. My off-map artillery is going to play a far more dominant and proactive role. I shall use it to bombard and suppress large areas of the battlefield prior to my assault. I shall then advance towards the barrage using company attack drill, leapfrogging forward as I proactively use artillery smoke to mask my advance. I will use my on-map mortars for targeted strikes on identified targets with the goal to disrupt and destroy enemy MG and mortar emplacements. You may notice as I progress, my battle plan evolves, but what may not be clear is the tactical use of my artillery and mortars does not change. The learning from my last battle was that I must be more decisive when using my assets. My strategy is to use my artillery offensively rather than to disrupt or to interdict. Looking at the terrain, you may recognise that we are on the eastern slopes of Phantom Ridge. Under my command, I have A, B and C Company from the 17th Battalion, 5th Kosovo Infantry Division, and I also have A Company from the 16th Battalion who are arriving approximately 20 minutes into the battle. 16 Battalion were present in the battle for the gorge floor, suffering heavy casualties, and have been partly resupplied and reinforced, putting them at around 60% combat effectiveness. I have artillery and on-map 81mm mortar support, which was listed earlier, with 2 of the 25-pounder batteries becoming available approximately 50 minutes into the battle. Command expects a strong German defence, the usual well-dispersed defenders, heavily armed, highly motivated, and I expect counterattacks from behind Colle Sant Angelo heights. I also expect very effective counter batteries that are dialed into the terrain, quickly responding to my movements. My responding tactic will be to keep my assault advancing, to prevent it getting bogged down. This is difficult in open terrain whilst being rained with HE shells. Other than the Phantom Ridge line and the Colle Sant Angelo objectives, there is no other terrain with specific advantages. My battle plan is to lay down a lengthy artillery barrage along the length of the Colle Sant Angelo Ridge. I shall position my Vickers MGs on Phantom Ridge, using them to lay down suppressive MG fire, and their commanding officers will spot and call specific targets for the on-map mortars. I shall advance on my right flank along what looks like a mountain path. It appears to be the most direct and flattest route, but may be a focus for defence. This means I'm attacking on a narrow front. It worked in the first battle, but was unsuccessful in the second. But I'm favouring the narrow front versus traversing the difficult terrain, which may slow my advance. I have one Sherman on my left flank. It's unable to manoeuvre in the terrain, so it will operate more as an on-map artillery asset. My plan is set. I've ordered a 10-minute delay on my barrage to allow the MG sections in the 5th to position behind the ridgeline, ready to jump off. So let's follow the poles in this third battle. And I'm already under a German counter battery. We're almost 10 minutes in, and my spotters are already calling mortars onto specific identified targets. My initial barrage starts to fall on the Angelo ridgeline. I'm also trying to target the valley floor and along the mountain trail on the western bank. The barrage includes 81mm mortars, 25 pounders and 5.5-inch guns. My HMGs move into position. B Company also moves into the start position on the ridgeline. Coming under NG fire. The Vickers respond. As B Company starts its attack, I take casualties. Even under the heavy barrage, the Fallschirmjäger try to lay down suppressive fire. I try to quickly spot and counter. B Company are taking casualties. But I continue to push the attack. I spot retreating Fallschirmjäger. It looks like a command unit. I call a halt to the barrage which is just in front of my advance line.
End of mission. Out. End of mission. Out.
And spot further targets for the on-map mortars. B Company is continuing its attack on my right flank. And A Company is preparing to advance over the ridgeline. I pound the Fallschirmjäger's left flank. I'm taking casualties in my attack force as they come under artillery fire. I'm trying to leapfrog B Company forward. And they start to encounter mines. It's imperative I achieve fire superiority.
Just fire.
The fighting on my right flank is fierce. I'm using everything I can muster to hammer the Angelo ridgeline. A Company provides fire support for the advancing B Company. But not everything is going my way. I can see Jerry casualties on the Angelo ridgeline. But B Company has taken heavy casualties as well, especially amongst the minefield. I order A Company forward to replace B Company as the tip of the assault. Not everyone is keen to advance. With A Company from 16 battalions soon to arrive, I also push C Company forward. They charge over the top of Phantom Bridge. It's like a battle from 1916. All three platoons, C Company race forward. As my barrage continues along the ridgeline Angelo. B Company have paused their advance. A Company is moving up behind in support, and C Company is advancing on their left, into the valley. I'm widening my front. I plan to set up a firebase with B Company and then use A Company to push through and attack on my right flank. C Company will attack into the valley, then push up the mountainside and on to ridgeline Angelo. I'm coming under heavy artillery fire, and there are minefields on my attack route on my right flank. I anticipate C Company becoming my main force of attack. A Company quickly run into more minefields. As B Company start to set up their firebase, I quickly adjust A Company's attack route. I order them left of the mountain path in order to try and avoid the worst of the minefields. Suddenly B Company spots what looks like a counterattack force on my right flank. I try to redirect some of my artillery, but they're just out of line of sight. They trade fire with the remnants of B Company. I'm nearly 30 minutes into battle, and I'm going to re-evaluate my plan. I anticipated a counterattack. I shall engage this with B Company on my right flank and artillery. I'm going to widen my front further. I make the decision to bring A Company from the 16th into the battle. I adjust my artillery barrages along the grey lines. As my attacking force advances, I shall adjust the batteries further up the slopes towards the ridgeline Angelo. I still have plenty of time, 60 minutes, but I don't want to slow my attack down. I want to keep momentum. A Company from the 16th advance quickly down the slopes. I start catching hidden defenders in crossfire. A Company from the 17th is coming under heavy fire, and their advance is stalling. I continue to try and spot individual targets and hammer them hard. I'm also engaging small pockets of defence on the valley floor. And A Company from the 16th engages defenders on the western slope of Phantom Ridge. I start to lay smoke for my attack into the valley. I shall then push through, up the slope, to objective ridgeline Angelo. A Company's attack has paused. They've encountered further mines and come under heavy fire. I shall wait for the smoke to spread and then order them forward. C Company continue to push down the mountainside. But they are also taking casualties. The pockets of defence are lessening. This allows me to bring greater weight of fire to those areas that I do identify. My smoke is starting to creep across the battlefield. And A Company restart their attack. Some of the Fallschirmjäger are starting to break. My advance is progressing well. A and C Company from the 17th are advancing through the smoke, whilst A Company from the 16th advance into the valley. I'm starting to overrun the defenders on the western slopes of Phantom Ridge. Catching them in crossing fire. The occasional Fallschirmjäger panics. I'm gaining fire superiority. I'm continuing with my plan. I shall hold B Company on my right flank and push with A, C and A Company from the 16th towards the Fallschirmjäger on ridgeline Angelo. As I clear out more of the defenders, I start to accelerate my advance. Each advancing unit moves forward further before holding and covering the advance of the next unit. I'm stretching out my leapfrogging. I still have artillery and smoke, which I'm calling on the red line along the ridgeline Angelo, and just forward of the counterattack, the red cross on my right flank. I'm starting to gain some confidence that I can take this objective. A lead detachment from C Company start to cross the valley floor. There are still pockets of stiff resistance. A Company from the 17th make contact on the western slope. The advancing C Company are able to engage the Fallschirmjäger in a suppressive crossfire. Whilst 3 platoon A Company engage at close quarters. A Company overrun the defenders. I have covered my right flank in smoke, which is then drifting into the valley. Whilst my attacking force is pushing up the slopes towards ridgeline Angelo. So who is where? B Company are on my right flank. A Company from the 17th have swept through the valley floor and are pushing the objective along with C Company. A Company from the 16th has also advanced up to the objective. I have further artillery planned along the grey lines, with a smoke barrage on the blue X, which is ending shortly. My right flank is still under mortar fire. The Fallschirmjäger's defence is weakening, and I'm only seeing smaller pockets along the red line. I tentatively advance B Company on my right flank. I want to move them away from the mortar barrage. I see some small elements of the counterattack on my right flank start to advance. Together with a second counterattack over the top of ridgeline Angelo from the east. Both are weak advances and easily suppressed. We're 50 minutes into battle and the Fallschirmjäger are staging a weak counterattack. I have already called in an artillery barrage on the same location that the counterattack has moved into, and my assault troops are actually in a reverse slope defensive position against the counterattack. As the 8th Army's artillery starts to fall on the counterattack, along Colle St. Angelo ridgeline, the Fallschirmjäger retreat and surrender the area. I achieve a total Polish army victory, a result I'm very pleased with. Looking at the casualty ratio, the Polish and the German losses are even. However, I had a much stronger force to start, so the casualty ratio favours the Polish force. I won, so I'm going to review the Axis force in some detail. Don't forget to check the stats in the bottom left corner. Many are veterans. I can't see their motivation level, but I'd expect them to be high from their behaviour. Looking at the soldiers that were at the front of the German defence, these are crack troops, potentially fanatical in their motivation. That's why few of them broke and ran for cover. They fought to the last man. My own troops, a mix of veteran with some green reinforcements. I also have a lot of active but wounded soldiers, some of which carried over from the previous battle, so I must assume if these units carry over again, then my fighting effectiveness will be impacted. My lessons learned from this battle: my artillery use was far more effective, as demonstrated in the stats. I used mostly medium barrage intensity and utilised the on-map mortar for indirect target strikes. I was able to not only cause casualties while suppressing with the big guns, but also directly destroy specific identified targets, such as the recoilless rifles. For the infantry, my initial plan was to assault along the mountain track. Whilst this avoided the difficult terrain, it presented a narrow front and was mined, and the artillery was dialed into the location. As this became obvious, I extended my assault line, widening my front and allowing for a full frontal battalion level assault. By leapfrogging everything forward, I was able to maximise my suppressive fire and maintain a reasonable momentum. Platoons supported platoons, companies supported companies, allowing both battalions to maintain the advance despite losses and various sections being suppressed. The overall weight of the advance ensured I could maintain momentum and win the day. It wasn't perfect, but I'm pleased with the result, and I shall use the positive learning in the next battle. We may yet get to Monte Cassino. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it was interesting and fun. Until next time, toodle pip.